This week, you chose to not approach Mackenzie about using the veto while you were on the block. Overall, what do you make of the campaigning you did this past week to stay?
Aloha Parade. Yeah, there's there's very little things I want to walk out of this house with um regret for. But not approaching Mackenzie um to use the veto on me this week is definitely a regret that I do have. I don't think I handled that situation very well. I'm glad I got to talk with Mackenzie before I walked out of the house and just to kind of clarify things. Um, there was lots of confusion and miscommunication. And for me, I know better. I know that you should absolutely advocate for yourself every chance that you get. I think I just assumed, which you should never do in the Big Brother house or in life, that because Mackenzie and I were fostering this relationship with each other in the game to trust each other, and she's used the veto on me before, and she's voted to keep me to stay. And I thought we were building something where if I was saying something, that she would just kind of accept it and know that I'm being real with her. I mean, to a point, especially in the Big Brother game. So from the first nominations of me going on the block against Rubina, to then the veto happening and then, her decision not to use it, I think I just lost track of playing the game this week. It's hard not to when you're sitting next to your closest ally and bestie in the house. So I do wish that I had done a better job at advocating for myself, or at all when it came to using the veto on me. But things happen the way they happen, and if I'm ever able to play this game again, I know way better now.
You were not happy with Chelsie nominating you during the double eviction, and you talked this past week with Rubina about how you felt she was a power player. Talk to me more about how your feelings developed.
Chelsea's one other person that I know. She is such a fan of this show, and the fact that she and I were the only two quote unquote kind of super fans or really big fans left in the game. You know, I I knew that the traction that Chelsie had was one that would push her to the end because she's playing such a great game socially, strategically. Um, so when she did put me on the block, it was, let's see, the second time she'd put me on the block. And I knew the first time around that I was just a pawn, right? But you can't help but think, am I that expendable to put me on the block? And I know that there are other reasons for that because it is an easy thing to do if you've already been on the block. You don't want to get your hands, dirtier than it needs to be. And that was something that we agreed upon. But the double is such a risky position to be in. Anyone's at risk. So for sure, that kind of just changed my opinions. Because, you out of fear, you start to say and do things and think things differently of people. Thankfully, I was able to pull myself off the block during that double, winning the veto. Um, but yeah, I think Chelsie is doing such an amazing job. And I think that if she's in the final two, she has a huge chance of winning.
After Tucker's eviction, you were nominated 6 weeks in a row. How did all that time on the block affect your emotional stability as well as your position in the game?
Being on the block more than a couple of times is taxing emotionally. Being on the block 6 times after Tucker was evicted really did a number on me emotionally. And especially the trying to even out um, how I was feeling by trying to push through and be more optimistic and be positive. Because in this house too, it's a lot about perception, and you don't want to, even when you're on the block, seem like you're a rain cloud. But it's really hard to do. So kind of all of the mixture of that really made playing this game um, and being on the block so often very tiring. But I'm glad that I had people in this house that were able to pick me up and to motivate me to keep pushing forward. Because without them, I wouldn't have sustained as long as I did in this game. But definitely tough. Oh my goodness.
Talk to me about the tight relationships you formed with T-Core and Rubina. Were you intending to go to the end game with them, and what do you think your chances were of winning if you did?
Yeah, I mean, Tikor and Rubina, they became my closest allies in the house and also my besties. Because for me, in this house, I needed people to lean on as just like a human existing game aside. So for sure, I had every intent of going to the end with Tikor and Rubina and then just kind of handling business however that looked like at the end. Um, because in the real world, my friends, when they win, I also win. I know that's, a cheesy thing to say, but it really is true for me. And Tikor and Rubina have become my very, very good friends. So, if the three of us made it, that's amazing. And if one of us took home the prize, also amazing.
Finally, give me your rapid fire thoughts on each of the remaining house guests, starting with Cam.
Ooh. Cam is cool, calm, and collected.
Chelsie.
Brilliant.
Mackenzie.
I would say perseverance.
And finally, Rubina.
There's so many words for Rubina. I love her so much. I would say mm, a light.